Here we are, day 2 of our long distance trip. We left Annapolis yesterday and sailed from Annapolis down to the Road River, and we're at an anchorage here in Road River. We stayed overnight. Sailing down to this area went pretty quick. I think it took us about 4 hours, and the winds were kind of hit or miss. Most of the time it was fairly decent. Had a couple times where we got like totally calmed and weren't moving. So overnight the winds picked up. It was blowing pretty hard. The wind was howling, and about 2 o'clock or so, 2 in the morning, it stopped, and now it's completely calm. It's been like that. The winds are starting to pick up a little bit, which will be good for getting out of here. And we anchored in the Road River, and it shows up on Navionics as Road River 1, which is the first little anchorage that you come to inside the Road River. And when we got here, there was only one other boat here, and we got here kind of early, I guess, like around 2 or so. Then as the evening progressed, more boats showed up. We actually had one raft up that showed up. It looks like it's 7 sailboats that are rafted up here behind us, and then a couple other sailboats, and then a trawler was anchored here overnight. And even though like the winds, this kind of looks out over the bay. You're still kind of tucked in here, but it kind of looks straight out over the bay. And even though the winds were coming from that side, were coming from the bay most of the time, the waves really never got bad. Like the wind was howling, and the waves in the anchorage never really got bad at all. It was relatively calm. And then the anchor held fine. This is the first time using the CQR anchor. Previously, I've been using we have a Danforth type anchor that's on a chain to nylon rode, and we've been using that just because the windlass wasn't working, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. Right before we came on the trip, I changed the batteries out. We got 3 new Lifeline AGM batteries, and changed those out, and then the windlass works fine. So I guess the problem was there wasn't enough juice coming from those batteries to get the solenoid for the windlass to kick over. That's my guess. So once we got the windlass working, now I'm using the CQR, which is on full chain rode. So that's what we have in right now. So we'll see how easy that is to get out today, especially because it was super windy. And I noticed, like with this boat, because it weighs a lot, and when you get heavy winds, it makes the anchor difficult to get out. I had that happen a couple times with the Danforth, actually only once, I guess, with the Danforth, trying to get it out after a windy night, and it was not easy to get out. So hopefully that's a little easier to get the CQR out this morning. I saw the trawler that was here with us left this morning, and I think they had a little problem getting their anchor out. But they had a Danforth also, I saw. So maybe it's just the Danforth. So we'll see how that goes. But today's plan is to sail south from Road River to Herring Bay. And we're not going to go into the Harrington Harbor marinas, either north or south. We're going to try to anchor in Herring Bay, which gets kind of mixed reviews just because it's exposed to east winds, but the winds actually, they're supposed to be east winds today, southeast winds, and they're supposed to switch over to south winds, which I guess Herring Bay is somewhat protected from south winds. So we'll see how it goes. It's not the best anchorage that we could go, but there's really nothing else on the west side of the bay that we could go to. And then the day after that, we're going to try to cross and go into the Choptank River. So that's kind of our plan for the next couple of days. So Herring Bay, we'll spend tonight in, hopefully, and then the following day, or I guess yeah, that would be tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll get up early and head out and try to cross the Chesapeake to get in the Choptank. And ultimately, our kind of goal was getting to Cambridge, and we've allowed ourselves 2 weeks to get there and back, which should be plenty of time. So we'll see how that goes. But here we are, day 2 of this trip. So this thing out here is part of a submarine that's being transported on a barge. Apparently, submarines are assembled in pieces, and this one is on its way from Newport News, Virginia, to somewhere in Connecticut. Okay, we're on day 4 of the trip, and I didn't record a day 3 update just because we sailed like all day on day 3, almost all day. On day 3, we sailed from Herring Bay to Cambridge, Maryland. So Herring Bay is on the western side of the Chesapeake Bay. Cambridge is up the Choptank River, which is on the eastern side of the bay, the eastern shore of Maryland. So that's where I'm sitting here right now. Behind me you can see we've got Cambridge, Maryland over there. We had like a lot of wind. It was a small craft advisory for 10 to 15 knot winds, 20 knot gusts, and that's about what we got, I think, the whole way over. But the benefit of that is we were flying across the bay, so like 6 knots, 5-6 knots, pretty consistent across the bay all the way up the Choptank pretty much. We had one storm that we had that kind of popped up in front of us. It wasn't really a storm, it was mostly just a big bank of rain and wind that popped up. So we were able to reef the sails and slow down a little bit and let it pass us. And then once it passed, we put the sails back up and kept on going. But still, we were still having gusts of 20 knots coming in here, and it was pretty quick and pretty not crazy, but pretty wild. So day 4 is today, and our plan for day 4 is to just sit and chill at this anchorage in Cambridge. And where we are, we're anchored in the Choptank River, which if I stand up here and show you what we got here, I think I can. You're going to get some wind. You got the marina over there. So there's a marina right there. That's the Route 50 bridge right over there that goes across the Choptank. And that's about as far as we can go. Actually, I think we probably could get under it. I think the height is 50 feet. 50 feet under the bridge, and we're at 45 feet. So we technically, I guess, could go under it. But we're not going to. From here, the plan is to turn around, head back out the Choptank, and head over toward Oxford, Maryland. So that's where we are today, and I'll do another update. We're probably going to stay a couple days here, so I don't know that there's anything to update over the next couple days, but I'll try to do a recording or something then, and then talk about what we did in Cambridge. This is Cambridge Creek, right off the Choptank River. In this area right here, you can tie up alongside that wall there, and you can, I guess, stay for up to 72 hours. And we had considered doing that, but decided against it, and we stayed anchored out in the Choptank. But this is what that area inside of Cambridge looks like, and you walk up that street there, and this is the main street in Cambridge. And there's RAR Brewing is right there to the right you just saw. And this is the main downtown area of Cambridge. They had several shops and a couple restaurants and things there that were pretty nice.
And it's dinner on the boat. Bow tie pasta with squash and zucchini. This is a video here of a crab boat that is in the process of catching Maryland's famous blue crab in the Chesapeake Bay. He's using a trot line, so he's going along this line that's at the bottom of the river and pulling it up, and the crabs come up with it. And then he scoops the crabs off the bait and throws them in the bucket. Here we are leaving Cambridge, headed to Oxford, the next stop on our trip. That's all for today. We'll finish the trip in the next video. Thanks for watching. Click like and subscribe.